Hi, this is Kimmy from Scrap Therapy. Hey, I wanted to show you a really awesome new product and a beautiful card that I've made. So the Mini Misti is one of the hottest new products out there. It's a wonderful tool done by my sweet Petunia, and when I first saw it, I thought it was pretty amazing. Then I saw the price and I wasn't too sure, but I ordered them in for my store and had to give it a shot. And I have to say, I am a believer. It is a pretty great tool, and it's definitely worth every dime when you consider how many mistakes you're not gonna make because of this great little tool. So let me show you how it works. So it comes like this, the little Misti tool. This is the Mini. And inside it has like this little lid that opens, and then there are magnets there, and there it comes with a little pad of graph paper, and it also comes with this little foam mat. And the reason that they do this is so that if you want to use rubber mount stamps, you can use those, or you can use acrylic stamps. So let me show you just really quickly how to do the rubber mount stamp. So I'm going to take a piece of cardstock. I'm going to place it in here in where I'm going to stamp. Just going to put my magnets on there. That holds the piece of paper in place. In behind this acrylic sheet is a magnet, so these magnets sit and stick anywhere that you want them to go. Then we're going to take the rubber mount stamp and we're going to place it good side down onto our paper. Now the stamp is not inked, it is clean and dry, and it's just going to sit just like that right onto my piece of paper. Then I'm going to take the lid, close it, give it a little tap, and the stamp now sticks to the lid of the Misti. So I can take and add it up, ink it up. Just using a little bit of Hickory Smoke Distress ink, and now I'm going to close it. You give it a firm push, but you don't need to pound it and hammer it. You just give it a nice firm push, and look at that. It stamps exactly where you want it to go. Isn't that beautiful? All right, I'm going to take those magnets off, and I'm going to take that rubber mount stamp off. So now I'm going to take and add the foam piece back inside here and the little piece of graph paper, because I'm going to use acrylic stamps. So for this little bird that I have here and the flowers, I'm going to show you how I did those using this beautiful stamp set by Hero Arts. It has the triple layer bird stamp, and it also has some multi-layer flowers and some leaves and a great sentiment. So for this, I'm gonna take my piece of paper and I'm gonna place it here. Now what I've been doing is I've been placing my paper in this corner 3 red lines over from the left and 3 red lines down from the top. And the reason I've been doing it here is just so I remember 3 and 3. But if for some reason the paper shifts and moves, then you can put it exactly where it was. And so that's a good thing. You want to do that. Okay, so I've got my acrylic stamp here, and I'm going to take it with the good side facing down onto my piece of paper. I'm going to close the lid. Remember, I have not inked my stamp yet. I just place it on top, clean and dry, and then open it onto the lid. If it shifts like that, which it will often do, especially if you're using acrylic stamps, because the plastic acrylic sticks to the paper and it shifts it a little bit. So that's why it's a good idea to set it into a corner so that you can reposition it if you need to. So I'm going to take some Hickory Smoke Distress ink. Whoops. Stamp up my stamp. So now see, it's over here on this lid side and it doesn't move. It stays exactly where I tacked it. I'm going to spritz it with a little bit of water just because, and you don't need to do that at all. The Misti doesn't require that you spray the stamp. I just do that because I want the ink to be really soft and kind of watercolory look with this triple stamping bird. So see what I mean? It just keeps it nice. It makes it kind of mottled and soft and watercolory. And my paper shifted a bit, so I'm putting it back where it was. So I'm just going to use a paper towel and just wipe that off. Take my first layer of my bird off of there. I'm going to take the second layer of my bird, and now I'm going to place it on top of the first layer. And here's the great thing about the Misti is that you can take this layer and place it anywhere you want. Now if you're off a little bit, you didn't stamp. There's no ink on here. I'm putting the clean, dry stamp on top of the first layer. So let's get it exactly where we want it to go. All right, I'm going to take the lid, tap it closed. It picks up the stamp. Make sure that I get it back into its perfect position. All right, and now this time I am going to load the second layer here with Dusty Concord. Give it a little spritz so that I get that watercolor effect, and doop, and there it goes. Wipe that clean, peel that off, take my dry, clean third layer and place it on top here. Again, just making sure that it's lined up perfectly. Sorry if you're seeing my hair on the video, hopefully not. All right, there it is. Oh, maybe a little high. A little high. Okay, tap the lid closed, it grabs it, lift it up. Make sure my paper didn't move. All right, and now I'm gonna just add chipped sapphire to my top layer. Here's a great little thing. See how, whoops, see how on the lid you've got all this extra ink? Well, because the magnets are the depth that they are perfect for holding it. So when I flip this over, none of that ink is going to go down onto my paper. Now, how many times have you done that? I don't know if you've done it 100 times, but I sure have, where the corner of the ink from my block gets onto my paper and wrecks it. And so it's pretty awesome just the way that the Misti is designed so that none of that extra ink gets on my paper. Now some of the ink is up here, but that's for my fingers because I'm kind of messy. All right, so now I've got my bird almost finished. I'm going to take the little feet and I'm going to place them on here exactly where I want them to be, right up tucked to his tummy. Close the lid of the Misti, lift back up, make sure my paper is nice and straight, and this time I'm just gonna tap on a little bit of black ink. And see how nice it is? I don't have to shove it down. Oh, this is great actually. If this happens, don't move your paper, don't move the stamp, just reload, re-stamp, and it crisps it and fixes your mistake. Isn't that awesome? No more trying to line it up and see through an acrylic block, or even more frustrating is if you're using a rubber mount block and that happens. There's like no way you can line that back up again. And so with this tool, you can always line it back up because you are not moving anything. Yeah, it's pretty cool. All right, so my bird is done. All right, so the next thing that I would do on this card are these cute little flowers, and I wanted to just show you these really quickly. I'm gonna just do them on a scrap piece of paper. So let's just put them here. So what I did, and this is another little thing I just love about the Misti, is that I take my stamp, place it again, good side facing down, place it onto my paper just like so, close the lid, there I have it, make sure it stays straight. So now I'm going to take the Dusty Concord and I'm going to load up my flower, give it a little spritz of water because I want it nice and blurred, and then I'm going to tap it down. Okay, so now I'm not going to move the stamp, I'm not going to move the paper, I'm just going to dab the stamp dry. And I'm going to take a darker shade and I'm going to use chipped sapphire, and now I'm just going to tap the edges of the stamp with the chipped sapphire. And again, it doesn't matter if I get it onto the lid because it doesn't touch the paper. Now I'm going to just press down And look at that perfect, beautiful shading, just like that, because I can keep the stamp exactly where it was. I'm not moving it. I'm just cleaning it and then adding another color so that you can get some beautiful shading to it. That is one of my favorite things about this tool. I want to do it again for you just because I love it so much. Ah, there we go. Okay, I'm going to load it with Dusty Concord, close it, wipe it clean, and now take a darker color, and so I'm using Chip Sapphire, and just load it up, tap it on. That time I don't spray it when I do the shading, and look at just perfect, beautiful shading. Gosh, I just love that. All right, so now I'm gonna take and just set my Misti aside, and I'm gonna quickly show you just the rest of this card. So I took a piece of paper, this is gonna be my backdrop, and I used the Mermaid Lagoon on the top, I used the Dusty Concord in the middle, and I used Broken China on the bottom. And I just used a foam tool and just foamed in my color there on this white piece of cardstock. Then I took some of the Shabby White embossing enamel, and you can't even see the name anymore because I've used almost the whole bottle. And anyways, this little bit of a sparkle just finishes the card off. And just like Annie says that you're never fully dressed without a smile, well, I say a card is never done without some sparkle. So you get a little bit of the sparkle on there, and when you're using this aged enamel, you can sprinkle it on with your fingers. Then take your embossing gun and heat it from underneath. And when you're heating it from underneath, you will see that the enamel will start to round and soften and puddle, and that means it's cooked and it's ready and it's finished. Be careful not to burn the back of your paper, but you have to hold the embossing gun turned on underneath and heat it that way. If you go from the top, of course, the powder is going to scatter everywhere because it's not attached to any ink of any sort. Okay, so now that is going to sit on top of here, and then I'm going to foam square that on top of there. I'm also going to take my bird, cut it out, and place it on there. And then I added a little bow to the side and a little bit of a puff out here. So I hope you've enjoyed this beautiful card. I wanted to just show you a couple others that I've made. This one here, I used candied apple and aged mahogany for my bird, and I also used some hickory smoke in the gray there. I was trying to make it look like a cardinal winter scene. And the background is brush-o, and if you haven't seen me do brush-o, please stop by the store or check out videos online using brush-o. It's a great product. This one here that I did is also with a background of brush-o, and then I've added the enamel again, and then this time I used the a different flower that came in the same stamp set. I used these double layered flowers and did these double layers in here. So I hope you are inspired to try not only the Mini Misti, but also some great double or triple stamping stamp sets. They are super fun and you get such a beautiful look with them. Thanks so much for watching and have a great day.